At exactly 10:47 p.m. every night, the silver 2008 Toyota Camry rolled into the same spot beneath a flickering streetlight in Columbus, Ohio. The car's paint was dull, the bumper slightly cracked, and one taillight blinked slower than the other. Inside sat a man in his late 40s with tired eyes and careful movements. His name was Daniel Harper, though no one in that parking lot knew it. Daniel lived in his car quietly. Not loudly. Not desperately. Quietly. He waited until the store closed, until the last employee locked the doors, until the lot emptied. Only then did he lean back, fold his hands, and let out a breath he'd been holding all day. For him, this car was not just transportation. It was a bedroom, a kitchen, a memory box, and a shield against a world that had moved on without him. Every morning before sunrise, Daniel folded his blanket with military precision. He wiped down the dashboard with an old cloth. He brushed his teeth using a bottle of water and a cracked mirror. By 6 a.m., he was gone, leaving behind nothing but tire marks and silence. People saw the car. They never saw the man. Daniel worked part-time at a hardware store across town. He was reliable, quiet, and always volunteered for extra shifts. When co-workers asked where he lived, he smiled and said, "Close by." When they talked about mortgages, vacations, and backyard grills, he nodded politely and stayed silent. What they didn't know was that 5 years earlier, Daniel had owned a small house, a golden retriever named Max, and a life that felt steady. He had been a warehouse supervisor, married for 18 years, with a daughter named Emily who used to sit on his shoulders during 4th of July fireworks. Then came the layoffs. Then came the medical bills after his wife, Laura, got sick. Then came the arguments, the stress, and finally the divorce that left Daniel with more guilt than anger. Laura moved closer to her sister. Emily went with her. Daniel kept the house, until he couldn't. The foreclosure notice came in a plain white envelope. Daniel didn't cry when he read it. He folded the paper, placed it on the table, and sat there for a long time, staring at the wall. When he finally left that house, he took only what could fit in his car. And in the trunk, carefully arranged, were the things he couldn't leave behind. The trouble started on a Tuesday night. Officer Mark Reynolds had been on the force for 12 years. He'd seen enough to know that routine didn't exist. That night, a call came in about a suspicious vehicle parked overnight in a grocery store lot for several days in a row. The store manager didn't want problems. Mark sighed, grabbed his jacket, and drove over. When he pulled into the lot, he saw the Camry immediately. Same spot. Same flickering light. Mark approached slowly, hand near his radio. He knocked on the driver's window. Daniel startled awake, heart racing, eyes wide with fear. He rolled down the window halfway. "Evening, sir," Mark said calmly. "Everything okay?" Daniel swallowed. "Yes, officer. I'm just resting." Mark noticed the blanket, the pillow, the neatly stacked items in the back seat. He'd seen this before. More times than he liked. "Can I ask why you're sleeping in your car?" Mark asked. Daniel hesitated. Years of pride rose up, then quietly stepped aside. "I don't have anywhere else to go." Mark nodded slowly. "I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle." Daniel's hands shook as he opened the door. He'd done nothing wrong, but fear doesn't always follow logic. Mark asked for ID, ran a quick check. Clean record. No warrants. Then Mark glanced at the trunk. "Mind if I take a look?" he asked. Daniel froze. For a brief moment, panic surged through him, not because he was hiding anything illegal, but because the trunk was the last place that still felt sacred. That was where his past lived. That was where his heart was stored. Slowly, he nodded. Mark walked to the back of the car. The trunk opened with a soft creak. And everything changed. Inside the trunk were plastic bins, carefully labeled in black marker. Emily, drawings. Laura, letters. Max, collar and toys. There was a folded American flag. A stack of photo albums. A small wooden box with a brass latch. And at the very top, wrapped in an old jacket, was a framed photo of a smiling little girl on a man's shoulders under fireworks. Mark stood still. This wasn't stolen property. This wasn't suspicious gear. This was a life. Daniel's voice cracked behind him. I keep it clean, he said softly. I don't bother anyone. I just needed somewhere safe for these. Mark closed the trunk gently. For the first time that night, he didn't feel like an officer on a call. He felt like a human being standing in front of another human being who had lost almost everything, except his love. Sir, Mark said quietly, what's your name? Daniel. Daniel Harper. Mark nodded. Daniel, you don't have to do this alone. Daniel laughed softly, bitter and tired. I've been doing it alone for a long time. Word travels fast in small ways. The next morning, Mark mentioned Daniel to his partner. His partner mentioned it to a friend at a local church. That friend mentioned it to a woman who ran a community outreach center. No social media post. No viral moment. Just people talking, quietly, the way real help often begins. 2 days later, Daniel came back to his car after work and found a note tucked under the windshield wiper. Daniel, my name is Sarah. I run Hope Haven on 5th Street. Officer Reynolds told me about you. We have a room if you want it. No pressure. Just a door that locks and a warm meal. Daniel sat in the driver's seat for a long time, holding the note. His hands trembled. Accepting help felt heavier than carrying all his belongings alone. That night, for the first time in years, Daniel cried. Hope Haven wasn't fancy. But it was warm. The bed didn't squeak. The shower water ran hot. And when Daniel lay down under clean sheets, the silence felt different, less lonely, more peaceful. Weeks passed. Daniel got full-time hours at the hardware store. Then a raise. Sarah helped him reconnect with legal aid to address old paperwork. Officer Mark stopped by once, bringing coffee and asking how he was doing, not as a cop, but as a friend. One afternoon, Daniel received an email he never expected. From Emily. Dad, Mom told me you were okay now. I've missed you. Can we talk? Daniel stared at the screen, heart pounding. All those nights in the car. All those memories in the trunk. And now, this. They met at a small park. Emily was taller now. Older. But when she hugged him, it felt like time folded in on itself. Daniel cried again, this time without shame. Months later, Daniel no longer lived in his car. But he kept the trunk just as organized. Because that trunk reminded him of who he was when no one was watching. A man who survived quietly. A man who held on to love even when life stripped everything else away. The night the police opened the trunk, they didn't find something dangerous. They found something human. And sometimes, that's what changes everything. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. You.